And dozens of Russian Israelis and others also protested here in Tel Aviv outside the Russian embassy, calling for Navalny's release and denouncing what they call the Kremlin-led corruption. Well, joining us now are two of the attendees of that protest, Diana Taratuta and Vladimir Lobak, speaking to us from Tel Aviv. And Diana, Vladimir, first of all, tell us why you felt it was so important here in Israel to go out and protest outside the Russian embassy.
Hi, I still have my Russian citizenship, and also I became a mother, and it's really important for me in the future of my second country.
Vladimir, how important do you think it is for, or effective do you think it is for Russia, for the Kremlin, to see that there are protests not only within Russia, but in other countries as well?
Well, I don't think the people, especially us, going out to those protests outside of Russia are doing it for Kremlin to notice. We're mainly doing it to support the people who went out of the streets in Moscow. We're mainly doing it to give ourselves some kind of a reminder of who we are and what we stand for. And I think most of the people who came out to the streets of other cities, not only in Tel Aviv, would agree with me that this is not against Kremlin. Kremlin is not going to listen to us. It's to support the people who went out to the streets in Moscow and other cities in Russia.
No, but let me clarify my question. It wasn't about your motivation. It was about the importance or not that the Kremlin sees that these protests are not just limited to Russia itself, but there are also people taking to the streets in other cities across the world.
Right. I think I understand your question. And I don't think the Kremlin actually is looking to that and paying any attention to that. I mean, for them, the main reason they're holding Navalny, the main reason they're putting people into jail is to keep the power. So for them, any protest outside of Russia especially is nothing, right? And I mean, they don't really care about that. They don't really care about their image in the world. They don't really care anymore about what people will say about Putin and about his friends, oligarchs. The only thing they care is keeping the power, whatever means they need to apply, they will apply. And unfortunately, this is the situation that Russia is in right now. And our only intent is we don't really care about what Kremlin thinks about it. Our only intent is to give our voice, to add our voice to the voices inside Russia.
Well, since you describe how you see the Kremlin's attitude, let me ask you, and maybe Diana wants to jump in, what do you think would happen if Navalny would face a extensive prison sentence, or I'm sorry to say this, maybe even a worse fate of types we've seen happen to opponents of the Russian government?
What would happen? It's a nice question. They're a little bit too sudden for
No, but what I mean is, do you think it would spur? And what I'm asking is, what would the reaction be, for example, in Russia among the opposition there?
Well, I think, unfortunately, right now, a lot of people who are in opposition, they don't really have a lot of means to influence the government or to influence Putin or his friends, because it seems that they're not ready to use power against the government, right? To go to barricades like people did in Ukraine. It seems that the situation is not that ready, even with the outcome that you described, the unfortunate outcome, which we hope it doesn't get to. The only thing I think is for the people to keep the faith and to get stronger in their belief that the freedom is what they want and not what the propaganda is telling them, that the stability is more important than freedom, because there is no stability. And unfortunately, this is the message that has been poisoning some of the people in Russia. And some of the percent of the people are not supporting Navalny, even though they're not supporting the government, they're not supporting this freedom, these people who go out in the streets. So I think the most important message, whatever the sentence is going to be or whatever the situation is going to come to, the most important message, what Navalny said himself, don't be afraid.
All right.
And I think that is something that's going to be the message for the new generation and for the people.
Let me ask you, and if you could respond briefly, we see the new Biden administration being more outspoken against the treatment of Navalny by the Russian government. What about here in Israel? Would you like to see the Israeli government, which to some degree has courted Vladimir Putin because of geopolitical reasons, to perhaps be more outspoken in this regard?
It's In our country, we also so tired of not changing power. And for me, one of the reasons to be a part of this walking in Israel to show our government that we are disagree, and the relationship between
our prime
ministers, it's awful. You know that 1 year ago, some posters appeared in Tel Aviv, really big posters, and it was the same date when in Moscow was this big fighting on the street. And we also was a part of this meeting.
Yeah, we went to the protest, and the posters that Diana is mentioning were the posters of Bibi Netanyahu and Putin, along with other posters where he's pictured along with Trump. So I think that the current Israeli government, with Bibi Netanyahu as our prime minister.
We'll have to leave it at that, I'm afraid. Diana Taratura, Vladimir Lobak, thank you for joining us on The Rundown.